Woolly Story. Welcome to my cozy little corner of YouTube, where you can unwind and drift off to sleep while listening to some soothing bedtime stories. This is the perfect place for those who want to absorb new vocabulary while listening to bedtime stories before drifting off to sleep. So get comfy, relax, and let me help you drift off into dreamland. In a prehistoric world where humans possessed the ability to transform into wild beasts, the planets will foresaw an invasion by extraterrestrial beings in the distant future. The planets will desire to accelerate the world's technological development and designed a game system that could camouflage the planet as a holographic game. The game system summoned players from Earth to the planet as the game's characters with the ability to transform into a random beast form. The game system, which was created by the planet's will, was unlike anything the Earth had seen before. It was an ultra-realistic holographic game that transported players into a prehistoric world where they could transform into a random beast form. The game was designed to help accelerate the planet's technological development, but it was also a way to prepare for an invasion by extraterrestrial beings that was predicted to happen in the future. As the game went live, players from Earth became enamored with the ultra-realistic holographic game that had appeared out of nowhere. The game's vast and varied landscape was filled with challenges and opportunities, and players were drawn to the thrill of discovery and the chance to change a world unlike any other. The game system summoned players from all over the world, and they quickly formed groups, known as beast players, to undertake quests and improve the planet's technology and infrastructure. The beast players used their knowledge of modern technology to bring astonishing changes to the prehistoric world. They introduced new tools, created better shelters, and implemented new methods for growing food. As they made progress, they began to experience a strange phenomenon, a mental connection to the planet that caused their bodies to transform into beasts in the game. At first, the players were confused and frightened by this phenomenon. They did not understand how it was happening or what it meant for them. But over time, they learned to control their transformations and even began to enjoy the experience. As the beast players continued to explore the holographic world of the game, they began to encounter more and more challenges. They were tasked with everything from finding new food and water sources to building massive structures and improving the planet's infrastructure. Each quest brought them closer to their ultimate goal, the survival of the planet. Despite the challenges, the beast players found themselves growing increasingly attached to the planet's inhabitants. They developed deep emotional connections with the various creatures they encountered, from the gentle giants that roamed the fields to the cunning predators that stalked the forests. They were no longer simply playing a game but helping shape a world and its inhabitants. The beast players also began to develop strong bonds with one another. They worked together to complete quests, shared their knowledge and skills, and offered support and encouragement when things got tough. They developed new technologies and techniques, discovered hidden secrets and treasures, and formed deep connections with the planet's inhabitants. Many players found that the game had become a vital part of their lives, and they looked forward to logging in and experiencing the world of the game each day, and they poured all of their passion and energy into it. But the game system had summoned the players from Earth to the planet for a reason. The players were not just there to play a game, but to help prepare the planet for a future that was fraught with danger. As they progressed through the game, the beast players discovered that there was much more to the game than they had originally thought. They began to uncover the game's true purpose and the reason why they had been summoned to the planet. The game was actually a disguise for the planet's true nature, and the beast players had been chosen to help save the planet from an impending invasion. They realized that their actions were not just limited to the virtual world but had real-world consequences. They were the planet's only hope, and they knew that the fate of the planet was in their hands. The players felt a newfound sense of responsibility, and they were determined to push themselves to the limits to ensure the planet's survival. They realized that the game was not just a means of entertainment but a tool for saving an entire world from certain destruction. The players were determined to save the planet from the predicted invasion by extraterrestrial beings, and they knew they needed to be prepared for any challenge that might come their way. They continued to work tirelessly to complete the game's objectives, knowing their progress in the game was directly impacting the planet's advancement, and the planet's future was now in their hands. As the Beast players continued to undertake quests, they faced increasingly difficult challenges. They struggled to balance their real-world responsibilities with the demands of the game, but they were determined to see it through to the end, knowing that they could not turn away from their duty to the planet. They knew that they had become part of something much larger than themselves, and they were eager to see how their efforts would shape the future of the planet. They worked tirelessly to overcome obstacles and to complete the game's objectives. During this time, the players developed deep emotional connections with each other and with the planet's inhabitants. They found themselves becoming deeply invested in the planet's future, and they were willing to do whatever it took to ensure that the planet and its inhabitants were safe. They had to use all their skills and knowledge to overcome these challenges and to help the planet prepare for the impending invasion. They knew that the stakes were high, and failure was not an option. As the Beast players continued to play the game and take on new challenges, they began to notice changes within themselves. They found that the mental connection they had developed with the planet was not limited to the game world but had carried over into the real world as well. They started to exhibit new abilities and physical changes that allowed them to transform into their beast forms outside of the game. They had become the very creatures they had controlled in the holographic world. At first, the Beast players were shocked by these changes. They had no idea what was happening to them or why. But as they began to explore their newfound abilities, they discovered that they were not alone. Others had also begun to exhibit similar changes, and soon it became apparent that they were experiencing a new stage in human evolution. The players had become the catalysts for a change that would reshape humanity forever. With this revelation, the players' sense of purpose was renewed. The Beast players began to use their abilities to help others and to better understand the changes happening within them. They experimented with their abilities, testing their limits, and learning more about how they worked. They were amazed to find that their technological advancements in the game world were also being implemented in the real world. This was a thrilling discovery, and the players spent countless hours exploring their new abilities and honing their skills. Some of the players even formed groups, sharing their knowledge and experiences with one another. As the players continued to evolve, they also found that their relationship with the planet had changed. They no longer saw it as just a game, but as a living entity that was inextricably linked to their own evolution. They felt a deep connection to the planet and its inhabitants and knew that they had a responsibility to protect them. The players also began to realize that their evolution was not without risks. Some of them experienced negative side effects or struggled to control their abilities. The players worked together to find solutions and help those who were struggling. Despite the challenges, the Beast players continued to play the game and push themselves to their limits. They knew that their evolution was not just about themselves, but about the future of humanity. They were determined to use their abilities for good and to shape a better world. The Beast players evolved into something more than just game characters. They became a new stage in human evolution, with abilities and traits that set them apart from the rest of humanity. They faced challenges and risks, but remained determined to use their abilities for good. The players had become something special, and their journey was far from over. The stage was set for the final act of the story, the ultimate test of the players' abilities and their impact on the planet's history and evolution. As the players approached the game's final stages, they knew that the stakes had never been higher. The planet's survival hung in the balance, and they were the only ones who could save it. They braced themselves for the ultimate challenge, knowing that the fate of an entire world rested on their shoulders. The beast players, now fully transformed and evolved, prepared themselves for the final battle against the invading extraterrestrial beings. They had honed their skills and abilities through countless quests and challenges in the game and were now ready to face the ultimate test. As the extraterrestrial ships descended from the sky, the beast players banded together with the planet's inhabitants to fight back. They utilized their advanced technology and beast forms to mount a formidable defense, pushing back against the invaders with all their might. The battle raged on for days, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The beast players fought with every ounce of their strength, driven by a deep sense of duty to protect the planet and all that they had come to cherish about it. In the end, it was a close-fought battle, but the beast players emerged triumphant. The invading forces were driven back, their ships retreating into the void of space. The planet had been saved, and the beast players had fulfilled their duty to the world that had summoned them. As they celebrated their victory, the beast players knew that they had been a part of something truly extraordinary. They had saved an entire world from certain destruction and had done so through their own ingenuity, skill, and bravery. But the victory was bittersweet, as the beast players knew that they must soon leave the planet and return to their own world. They had become deeply connected to the planet and its inhabitants, and the thought of leaving it behind was difficult to bear. Nevertheless, the beast players knew that their time on the planet had come to an end. They said their goodbyes to the planet's inhabitants, promising to always remember the lessons they had learned and the bonds they had formed. And so the beast players returned to Earth, forever changed by their experience. They had become a part of something greater than themselves, a force for change in a world that was constantly shifting and evolving. As they looked back on their journey, the beast players knew that they had truly accomplished something remarkable. They had saved a world, and in doing so had become a part of its history and evolution. And as they went on with their lives, the beast players knew that they would always carry with them the memories of the prehistoric world and the incredible journey that had changed their lives forever. And that's it for tonight's story. I hope it made you feel all warm and cozy. Join me again tomorrow for another bedtime story. Good night. Sweet dreams.